The battlefield stank of ozone, scorched metal and blood. Corporal Marcus Hale crouched in the shadows of a shattered wall, his pulse hammering like a war drum. The colony world of Varys 4 had become hell within a single day. Once it was an outpost of gardens, rivers, and terraformed valleys, but now it was a ruin crawling with the most feared scourge in the galaxy, the Grimspawn. Monstrous, semi-organic horrors with serrated limbs, carapace-plated hides, and jaws like hydraulic crushers. They didn't negotiate, they didn't enslave, they consumed. Entire civilizations had been erased by their swarm. And now, humanity was next. Marcus tightened his grip on his plasma rifle. His squad scattered and broken after the swarm tore through their defensive line. His visor displayed nothing but static where his squad's life signs should have been. He was alone, or so he thought. The first encounter. The rubble shifted. Marcus whirled, rifle raised. From the dust emerged a shape. Not human, not spawn, but something in between. It was humanoid, 7 feet tall, with pale skin etched by faint bioluminescent lines. Its eyes glowed faintly amber, slitted like a predator's, but its face was strangely calm. Marcus almost fired. But then the creature spoke in fluent standard. "You survived." The voice was low, melodic, tinged with an unplaceable accent. Marcus narrowed his eyes. "What the hell are you?" The figure tilted its head, almost curious. "Not your enemy." A deafening screech shattered the tense silence. From the shadows beyond, Grimspawn slithered closer. Dozens of them. They reeked of rot and hunger, their mandibles snapping. Marcus braced to fight, knowing it was hopeless. But something strange happened. The Grimspawn stopped. They froze mid-lunge, chittering in agitation but not daring to advance. Their eyes, glowing pits of malice, fixed not on Marcus, but on the figure standing beside him. Marcus's rifle wavered. He glanced at the tall being. The Grimspawn were afraid. The figure smiled faintly, showing no teeth, just calm assurance. "They know me," it said. "They call me friend." Fragile alliance. The Grimspawn retreated into the darkness, their screeches echoing through the ruins. Marcus stood there, stunned. "Explain," he demanded. The being sat casually on a fallen beam, as though the swarm weren't circling them. "My name is Lyra. I am an experiment. Once I was like them. Grown, not born. But I chose differently. I broke free." Marcus didn't lower his weapon. "You're one of them." "Not anymore. Their hive mind calls me traitor. But in another way." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly. "They cannot touch me. I walk where even their warlords hesitate." Marcus tried to process this. The Grimspawn had wiped out entire fleets without slowing. Yet here was this alien, no hybrid. Who could make them retreat? "Why help me?" he asked. Lyra's gaze softened. "Because you humans fight. Most species only run. The Grimspawn fear you. Not because you are strong, but because you refuse to stop even when you should. That frightens them more than death itself." Marcus barked a bitter laugh. "Doesn't seem like it's working. We're losing." "Not if I guide you." Lyra leaned closer, her bioluminescent markings pulsing faintly. "There is a way to cut into their hive. To break the chain of command. You cannot do it alone. Cannot do it alone. But together." Marcus hesitated, then lowered his rifle slightly. His squad was gone. His chances alone were zero. Maybe this friend of the Grimspawn was his only chance. "Fine," he said. "Show me." Into the hive. For the next day, Marcus followed Lyra through the ruins of Varys 4. They moved like shadows, slipping past Grimspawn patrols that snarled but never approached. Marcus quickly realized the truth. Lyra wasn't just tolerated by the swarm, she commanded their instinctual respect, like a predator among predators. More than once, Marcus saw warriors freeze in their tracks at the sight of her. At night, around the dim glow of a broken lamp, he asked questions. "What are you, really?" "I was made in the vats of Syndral Prime," Lyra admitted. "The Grimspawn experiment with forms. Soldiers, hunters, queens. I was meant to be an infiltrator. Part spawn, part something else. But I found choice. The hive hates choice. You broke free of a hive mind." Lyra's amber eyes fixed on him. "And now I walk alone. They call me friend only because they cannot name me enemy. Not yet." Something in her voice carried weight. Loneliness, perhaps, or quiet defiance. Marcus felt a strange kinship. Soldiers knew isolation well. By the third night, he began to trust her. Not fully, but enough. They reached the edge of the hive crater, a vast sinkhole of blackened flesh and metallic growth, pulsing with unholy life. The hive stretched down into darkness, where the Grimspawn queen lay at its heart. Marcus's stomach churned. "And you want me to walk into that?" "Not walk. Right. You humans make weapons even the Grimspawn cannot adapt to. Plasma grenades, EMP warheads. Tools they cannot digest." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "We end the queen, we break the swarm." Marcus checked his dwindling ammunition. "That's a hell of a gamble." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was unexpectedly warm. "So is every fight worth having." The descent. They entered the hive together. The walls pulsed with veins of black ichor, chittering echoes reverberating around them. Marcus tried not to gag at the stench. Grimspawn warriors skittered along the walls, but when their eyes fell on Lyra, they froze, hissed low, and retreated. Marcus whispered, "I'll never get used to that." "You don't need to," Lyra murmured. "Just follow." Deeper they went, past writhing cocoons and chambers filled with half-digested corpses of other species. Marcus forced himself not to look too closely. His human anger burned hotter with every step. Finally they reached the central chamber. There, towering like a mountain of flesh and armor, lay the Grimspawn queen. Her bulk filled the cavern, her many eyes glowing sickly green. Mandibles as long as spears twitched as she sensed them. Marcus froze. His every instinct screamed to run. But the queen's gaze wasn't on him. It was on Lyra. The swarm around them hissed in agitation, but none dared move. The queen's voice thundered in Marcus's mind, a psychic growl. "Betrayer. Friend. Return to the fold." Lyra stood tall. "No." The psychic weight pressed on Marcus like a storm, but Lyra bore it with ease. She raised a hand. "Now, Marcus." Marcus hurled the satchel of grenades toward the queen's abdomen. They detonated in a blinding flash, tearing flesh and armor apart. The queen shrieked, a sound that rattled the very air. The chamber erupted in chaos. The fight. The hive walls split as spawn poured in from every direction. Marcus opened fire, plasma bolts searing through carapace. He fought like a man with nothing left to lose. Lyra moved with impossible grace, her claws flashing, her strength tearing warriors apart. She wasn't human, not fully, but in that moment she was his ally, his shield, his sword. The queen thrashed, her colossal limbs smashing the chamber apart. Marcus emptied his rifle, then drew his combat blade, hacking at anything that came near. His arms burned, his lungs seared, but he kept going. Because Lyra was at his side. Because humanity didn't quit. Finally, with one last charge, Marcus rammed an EMP warhead into the gaping wound on the Queen's chest. He pulled Lyra with him as they dove for cover,